Thembi, over to you first.
Tony, if I could just sort of
Yes.
welcome Thembi officially to the group. Thembi and I had a chat a couple of weeks ago. We met on a different platform of a mutual trainer that we have in the digital space, somebody who creates digital courses or teach other people how to create digital courses and memberships and stuff. And then one of the people that he had on his meeting was Thembi, where she talked about the success that she's achieved in the particular field that she's got. She's got a business called Virtual Staff on Demand, but she is herself very much in demand. She's a speaker across different platforms, and she's got quite an ambitious mission to empower 1 million women by 2025. So we'd love to hear more about that mission. But obviously, Thembi, as we discussed, this group is very interested to know about virtual assistants and how we could use and leverage virtual assistants in our individual businesses, and also what the process would be to go through that. You and I spoke about, our default is always to go overseas and look for Upworks and Fiverr and those sort of places. But we do have the resources here, and it's always better to support people in Africa than going offshore. So, Thembi, without any further ado, if you want to give us some sort of introduction, you could talk for a while and then hand it over to the group in terms of questions, whatever way you want to run this. Thanks, Thembi. You're on mute.
To unmute myself because I keep coughing, so I'm trying to mute myself. Absolutely. Thank you. And as I said, apologies in advance for my voice and if I'm a little bit off, but I'm going to try to do as much as I can. Quick question, Quinton, how long do I have?
Tony, as long as you want.
I think you said it's an hour, but
well, 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
4 hours. Yeah,
Thembi, we stop at 10 o'clock roughly, and it's really up to you. We've had people talk for just 10 minutes or 15 minutes and then just discuss, and we've had other people talk for 45 minutes or whatever, so it's really up to you. The group is quite an engaging group, so it's really up to you as to how you want to do it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll try to keep it brief also to preserve my voice and my health here, and then we can make it a discussion instead of making it a presentation. Perfect. So as Quinton said, we're good. As Quinton said, my name is Thembi Bheka. I actually am from Zimbabwe. I was born in Zimbabwe and I grew up here. And about a few years ago, well, not a few years ago, maybe 25 years ago, I moved to Canada as a refugee. To kind of start life, and also basically because the economy in Zimbabwe is not great. So I'm sorry, I'm having this hot flash. It's not even hot flash, it's like a fever. You get cold, you get hot. So I have to keep on taking my jacket.
Sorry, Thembi.
I'm so sorry.
No.
This is embarrassing. I've never done a webinar with feeling so bad. But anyways, as I was saying, so basically I moved to Canada as a refugee, and really kind of to start my life and to just get established. But with that as well, I realized that I started my own business. I started investing in real estate. I had a very successful real estate investing company. I started training people how to invest in real estate in Canada, and I couldn't hire anybody from Africa. Like I was trying to look for people, and I would find people from the Philippines, people from different countries, but never from Africa. So I decided to just advertise start advertising in Africa. And my first hire was from Kenya. And he was such a good employee. And I started wondering, why are people not hiring in Africa? Like you never hear about VAs in Africa. You hear about VAs from the Philippines, from all this India, but you never hear about VAs from Africa. But I kind of just continued with my VA from Kenya. And so it happened that in 2017, I came to Zimbabwe. I was coming for a visit, and I saw an article in the paper about this woman. She had committed suicide, and she had killed two of her children because she was tired of prostitution. And I was heartbroken. And I was like, why are people not working online? Because I knew the opportunities online. I had a 7-figure business online. I was making money online. And I was wondering, why are people not making money online? And that's when I decided to start training women, starting in Zimbabwe. And we're hoping to expand to South Africa next year. But we decided to start training women in Zimbabwe to be virtual assistants. So the target for our women are mostly women who are coming from abusive relationships, women who are coming from very disadvantaged backgrounds, like low-income families, and different type of backgrounds. It has been hard to find that because obviously nobody admits that they're in an abusive relationship until they are out of it. But we have been trying, that is really have been our target. So we train these women to be virtual assistants. We basically, the way we train them is not, because virtual assistants are different. So you can have a virtual assistant who's just a secretary, who's just doing your paperwork and kind of just typing and all that stuff. Our virtual assistants are specialized. We specialize in the online business. We are very well known in the online business, especially in North America. So we teach people how to like create funnels. I had somebody talk about that they do marketing and advertising for clients online. So we do kind of like the web pages, the graphics, the integrations, the automations, more like the technical stuff behind that. That's really what we specialize on: social media marketing, web pages, and like integrations in video marketing and editing and podcasting, those kind of things. So that's what that's what our girls specialize in. And so we've trained, I've trained hundreds and hundreds of women in Zimbabwe. We have worked with over 100. We currently, we have kind of streamlined down. We are now down to 26, with 26 VAs in our company. But really the goal is we need to keep empowering and training more, even if they're not working with us. My goal is just to bring this awareness, because I feel like there's this lack of awareness in Africa that you can make money online. That's one thing. And also the empowerment thing. Like, we know the unemployment rate is very high in our countries, and we can eliminate that by tapping into the high employment rate in other countries, and just kind of mixing those two, and also helping and build our society. So that's me in a nutshell. Quinton already mentioned a lot here. I do share a lot about these women on different stages. I've shared platforms with people like Tim Graziosi, if you're familiar with him. He's a good friend. Jeff Walker is a good friend. And really my goal is to keep sharing this message and making people realize that Africa, we're not just, you know, in as much as we want to empower these women, we're also not just a begging vessel. We're really smart, we're independent. We can be the next Philippines when it comes to providing workforce and bridging that gap online. So that's, I think I'll stop there. So
and thank you very much, Thembi. We really appreciate you pushing through and being brave to do this with us. Please let us know the minute you're not well, and then we can maybe give you a break. And we're happy to reschedule as well if we need to. So, are you okay to take a couple of questions? Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else or anybody that's got the first question maybe for Thembi?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go first.
All right.
As Mr. Africa, yeah, I'll go first because as Thembi, well done. Quinton took the words out of my mouth. You're very brave. We've got a new hero amongst us. Just what you shared with us, it gave us goosebumps. Well done, well done. We're so proud of you. And the other things are not said, but for you to come out today to meet with us in your condition already tells us a lot about you. So well done. And I'm hoping that by God's grace, early next year, we'll be able to interact with you once again, yeah? So I heard you talk about that Africa is not a begging vessel. that for me stood out. Yeah, the colleagues here, they will tell you how passionate I am about Africa, and we need more people like you that will actually drive that message. There's so much that is happening. We've got the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that was consummated beginning of January this year. Nothing much has happened, but we need people like you. So I'm very much encouraged, and I would want to hear more about your business and how can we partner, because we need to grow it. I know right now focusing on quality, you've done some streamlining, but we need more than the 26 that you've gotten, the services that you offer. Because when Quinton told us about a VA, I didn't even know about a VA, so I did a bit of research just before I came here, just to be but and I see that you really, in terms of the services that you offer, it's awesome. Well done for giving hope to these ladies that are coming from abusive relationships and so forth. So I'm so glad, and may your business continue flourishing. And let us see where we've got some synergies and how we can actually assist you. So well done, Thembi. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank
you. Anybody else with a question maybe for Thembi? Dean, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I've got, I'm a solopreneur, so I suppose everybody in the group knows that I am wanting to slowly start scaling up, and the only way I can really do that is with some help. It doesn't make sense these days for me in the size of or the sort of technical requirements I have to get offices or anything. So VA does make sense. So my questions are really from a totally naive, unknowledgeable place. How would it be paid for? What sort of hourly rate would you be looking at? Training. How would you go about that? So just the sort of the practical requirements for aligning a VA with what you do as a solopreneur, so that they can effectively take over if you're not around, and pick up the slack. One of my biggest issues is being away for a week, be it a cycle tour or a holiday or something. I have to take my laptop with me. I have to have a connection. I simply cannot stop for more than at least a day or two. So it's that backup and support.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I like Greg's comment. He said South Africans will go cough and take the month off. It's actually not just South Africans. I have learned after coming back to Africa that it's actually the whole of Africa. So, and I hate to say that, but there is this mindset that what you just asked in here, there's this mindset that if the boss is not there, I'm not gonna work. And so it's something which you need to train your VA, and something which you need to start training them to take responsibility and to take ownership of the organization. Having said that, in regards to working with our company, when we get the girls, it's not just training them on the skills, we also train them on the personality. That's why I said we have basically just cut down, because we have no tolerance. We've decided we don't have tolerance for people who don't value work ethic. And for us, because we want to empower, we want to change the mindset. And I don't know if any of you are Zimbabwean or have been to Zimbabwe. The economy has been so bad to the extent where people don't even show up to work. Like it's normal not to show up to work. It's actually abnormal to come to work Monday to Friday. So when I came here, I had to work hard to change that mindset and to change that mentality, to just make people realize that it's not about working Monday to Friday, but it's also about the ownership of owning the company. So that's one thing we do. Like, we train them the ownership of their clients. Most of all our clients actually are either in North America, UK, Australia. So we don't really have any clients in Africa right now. And so it's really hard for us to try to take our mindset per se, or our work ethic per se, to that economy, because they have a different work ethic. So we had to train that. So we have to train that that you don't take you're taking the client's ownership. You're taking everything. If the client is sick, you are taking care of it. Like right now, I'm sick. My company is still going because they have taken ownership. I don't even have to show up. And so that's one thing which I can share. In regards to pricing, you'll find different pricing platforms. We don't price hourly. We don't believe in pricing hourly because even though we do use something called Time Doctor to track hours, to see how many hours people work, we had to implement that. We don't charge hourly, we charge a package a month. So we have monthly packages. So you either have, like we have a standard package and a premium package. The standard package is usually, for people who are starting out, I say go with the standard package. It's $500 a month. And it's usually just based about 20 hours a week, we say, equivalent. But we really don't charge hours because I found that when you do hourly, you put that mindset of, I've worked my hours, I've clocked in my hours, I'm going home. So even we don't pay our girls hourly, we pay them a month so that they can, even after 4 o'clock, when a client is in a crunch and they need help, they can show up and say, I'm here, I can help you. We have girls staying midnight because our clients have different time zones just to help their clients as they are launching or doing other stuff. So when you are looking for a VA, whether you go with us or we'll go with somebody, try to avoid this hourly thing because you're going to have somebody who's going to say, my hours are enough. That's it. I am done. You want them to kind of be a part of your company and kind of just involve themselves in your company, not be like a subcontractor per se. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, no, very, very much so. Yeah, so from what I meant is, sort of how many hours would you get in a month, and you've answered that, yeah. So would it be, so would it be 4 or 5 hours a week? But you've answered that. So
no, it's 20 hours a week for $500.
Sorry, yeah, 20 hours a week. I mean, apologies, yeah.
For $500,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So $500 a month. So you're getting about 80 hours a month for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you go with the advanced package, which is $1,200. That's a full-time VA. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now 100%. That's perfect. There was another question, but I'll think of it in a moment. So I think if anybody else wants to jump in.
All right, Vic, you've got your hand up.
Thank you. Thembi, a lady after my own heart. You and I are going to get on. Anyone who talks about the construct of digital being the future and you having seen it as far back as you did, I must admit, I only saw this in 2020, but for you to have seen it as far back as you did, clearly, stipulates the kind of visionary that you are. We at, and I think most of the team knows this, at Value Ed, we have a whole lot of youth that come on board who get a whole sort of leadership training in terms of leading themselves. And what we've ultimately happened or stumbled on or fallen into is building incubation businesses. Because a lot of these youth, after you've told them possibilities, you need to start defining them in a practical way for them. And we've probably built about 6 now. And the first one we built was an incubation business called Workflow Guru. And Workflow Guru was for unemployed, particularly unemployed, but unemployed PAs who have lost their jobs as a result of COVID so that they could do remote administration support. But what I like about what you have spoken about are 2 things that I'd never thought about, which is, the why within the business. So it's administration support, but your why is supporting people within the country that have gone through, particularly ladies who've gone through significant trauma. And the second thing that I hadn't thought about, which is where your expertise is going to come in. And I'm not going to ask questions now because I've got 153,000 questions for you. So we'll get in touch later when you're a little bit stronger. But the other thing that I was very interested in is the model in terms of the timing versus the commercial component of it in terms of how you manage that, which I think is very good. And the last point I just wanted to say is we are also learning to sniff out very quickly and make very deliberate decisions around personality and capability and all sorts of other sort of traits, because you can't polish something that doesn't want to be polished, right? So so a lot of what we do, we stumble along and we learn and we find people and they fall off, and then we just carry on like that, or we get great keepers, and we've got quite a few great keepers at the present moment. But everybody's learning in the learning process. And what we try to ask of those who are joining because of the why is have patience, because you can build this into a real nice Rolls Royce if you just grow with these people, and we will assure you that we'll try and find the right person. But the development, the learning, the mistakes, all that sort of thing may happen, but give it time, and you may have some real gem in the future. But thank you. I will be in touch with you so that mine is really for unemployed youth, and yours is, you've got a very specific why. So I'll be in touch with you to see how we can make this work.
Okay,
thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks for confirming that, Vic, because when I spoke to Thembi, I could see in the back of my mind, I could see Vic getting excited about the connection. Yeah, so there's similar visions and overlap.
Very excited.
So, so great. So, Thembi, I don't know if you want to comment on what Vic had to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to connect with you, Vic. And yeah, I agree. I think it's a process to finally to really define the traits versus the skills, kind of characteristics when you are hiring and bringing these young people on. But once you do it, we have a quiz, and I'll share it with you later on, which we use internally. And it has really helped us in terms of defining and hiring the right people. Like, we made a lot of mistakes when we were starting, but now we have really streamlined and fine-lined it. And sometimes, I want to say, just because someone doesn't look like they are motivated at first doesn't mean they're not motivated. They could be in the wrong fit. They could be, you're putting them in strategy when they're analytical or when they're procedural. So also it goes back to matching them to the right place where they would fit and survive well. So, but I look forward to connecting with you and hopefully helping you with that.
Excellent. Okay, Alison, I see your virtual hand. Gary, did you have your hand up earlier?
Yeah, I've got a short question. Thembi, how do you measure success? Do you have KPIs? How do you measure to see if they're successful or not, and if it's working or not, if they're up to par or above or below? And what digital tools do you use?
You mean during the training, or you mean after they started working with us, or you mean for the client?
Once you've matched someone and they're going, once it's going and they're in the place and they're servicing some manager or leader and they're going, how do you measure to see that they're actually being successful? Do you have a KPI program? Do you have some sort of structure on how you measure to know how it's going, or monthly report? Because we've used VAs and some of them were not up to par, and we just ended up canceling their contract, and there was no measuring mechanism. It was like, you did the job, but we rate you not so great because maybe the graphics weren't great, or maybe there was something wrong, and no one really cares. No one really came back to us, and there was no measuring system. So we stopped using VAs because, they just didn't work out, some of them. Others did when they were okay, they weren't great. So we used them for graphics, and actually in the Philippines. But how do you measure your staff to make sure that they're meeting the criteria? Do you have KPIs? Do you have a digital program? How do you measure the success of each one?
Okay, so we have we have departments in our company. We have 4 departments, and so I'm just going to talk about the graphics here, and I'll tell you why the departments have been crucial in terms of success. So with each department, the girls, because we've been doing this for so long, and we know the ones who are good, and we have a department head. So let's say it's a graphics department, and we partner you with, let's say, somebody called Melissa, and Melissa does your graphics. Before they even come to you, they are actually approved by the department head. And if the department head doesn't like them, they go back and we redo them and until the department head likes them, and then it's sent to the client. Then we do surveys. We do constant surveys with our clients where we're asking, usually I think it's every two weeks and 3 months, and I can't remember the timelines exactly right now, but where we're like, is everything okay? How is it going with your VA? And can we change anything? Because we have many VAs, we have the option to change, because we've had those challenges, Gary, where we have somebody, we connect with them and we think, oh, it's great. And the client comes back to us and like, no, can I please have a different one? So we always offer those options. Internally within us, we're always doing appraisals, we're always doing KPIs within our industry. But with the client, it's really mainly through surveys. And as I said, we have departments and nothing goes out without being approved by our head of department.
Cool. Thank you. Alison?
Thank you so much for coming here today, feeling so poorly. You're doing really well. Thank you. I just wanted to say, first of all, it's amazing what you're doing, empowering women and giving them their self-worth back and giving them a career moving forward that they can work around their families and everything they've got. My question was, as business owners, we're very nervous about giving bits and pieces away because they're like, oh, nobody knows it better than we do. How do you help your clients? Do you give them like training on how to work with a VA, what to hand over? How do you go about that? Because I know people have used VAs, but they haven't given enough away, so therefore it hasn't worked. What would your advice be? Or do you give training to the business owners who are going to take on a VA as well?
Oops. Are we?
She's frozen.
Thembi, can you still hear us or?
Cable theft.
Maybe put the video off. It's the video off rather.
Okay. So I've just switched. Oops, it looks like she's dropped off completely. Okay.
She'll probably come back on again. What's the website? And I'm trying to look on the group. I know you must have posted it.
Okay.
Somebody just put the website on the chat or something like that.
All right.
The website.
I'll quickly just. I've got a LinkedIn profile open, so I'll just drop that into.
Okay, I see it. Sorry, I just found it on the WhatsApp. We'll stick it on anyway, Quentin. Thanks.
Okay, and then in the LinkedIn profile is a link across to Virtual Staff on Demand as a company. Good. Well, actually, I don't see a link to the company, but I suppose you could connect with her on there. Oh, there we go. I've got the.
If you Google Virtual Staff on Demand, that'll probably.
Yeah, I actually did find it. There we go. Okay, well, yeah, I'm not sure if she's going to make it back on for technical reasons or for health reasons, but yeah, there we go.
Coming back on again, yeah.
All right.
I am sorry about that.
No problem.
My son disconnected the internet accidentally, so.
Okay.
It happens.
All right, that's fine. We're just worried that you're okay. That you know.
Yes, I'm okay. Yeah.
Did you hear what Alison was saying, or do you want her to repeat her question?
Do you mind repeating, Alison? I think you got cut off. Yeah, I missed a lot of it.
I said, I know a lot of business owners are very fearful of handing duties over to a VA. I know some people who've hired a VA and it didn't work, but it's because they wouldn't give enough away. And it's about building up that trust. So my question is, what's your advice to business owners? And do you train business owners on how to use a VA effectively? Because I can imagine that's quite a challenge as well.
That's a very good question. Yeah, that's actually a challenge. We do have some monthly trainings. That's one of, like, when you get into our program, we do have monthly trainings, but they're not really, we do have the initial training when people start, which they get. There's a webinar which I do on how to work effectively with a VA. because you're right. A lot of entrepreneurs, they struggle with letting go because we're controlling, right? That's our nature as entrepreneurs. We're controlling. We just want to do everything on our own, and we don't trust anybody. And so I think that's something we need to implement within the organization, more trainings in regards to how people can work with VAs. But really, people just have to learn to let go, because you can't scale a business when you're holding on to everything. You can't do it all. And I think it all goes to trust. And also it all goes to the VA as well, to building that relationship to the extent where the entrepreneur can trust you, where they can go to bed and sleep and know that my stuff is going to be done. So it's both ways. But that's a great question, Alison. We do not do, I don't think we do enough training when it comes to that. We do have some trainings, but I don't think we do enough training when it comes to helping people letting go, if I can say.
Okay. Sorry, Tony.
I can just say something. That I think that's really that's a really valuable thing, Thembi, to do. I know as a group we've talked a lot about VAs for probably 3 years, right, guys? I mean, we've talked about outsourcing one way or another, and whether that's a technical team who's going to do some programming for you, it's marketing or normal sort of PA type work, or all sorts of everything, sales calls. There's all sorts of stuff that you can outsource. And I think the one question which comes up all the time is, how do we do this? And I think Gary put his finger on it. Well, you said it. It all goes to trust. When you've worked with somebody for a while and you've trusted them, particularly remotely, if they're in the room, you can see them. And you can say, no, do it like this. And no, okay, do it like that. No, that's not quite right. And you get this very short feedback loop on how to work with somebody and how to make that work. When you're remote, you don't necessarily get that. And you go, well, how good is this person? How do I know they're good? I'm trusting them with some valuable information. How do I know it's safe? All that sort of stuff. How do I let go? How much do I let go? How much training do I need? There was a great chapter in the 4-Hour Work Week with Tim Ferriss. It's an old book now, 2004, I think. But he gives some pretty explicit instructions back in those days on how to work remotely, and I think that would be a really, really good thing. I know Andy Stanley always promotes a company in Atlanta. I'm trying to think what they're called now. Anyway. And if you go onto their website, they've got quite a lot of training on how to work with a VA, but it still stops short, because I looked at it and it was like, yeah, but how do you do that? So they give you the principles, they don't tell you how to. But that's a great sales thing, because then you'll attract people who are looking for VAs. And if marketing 101, right? If you add value to their life, they'll trust you as a company. And so they'll want to give stuff into you. So I think from my side, as somebody who's constantly looking to outsource and do that, it's a really valuable thing, because a lot of people, I think Alison said it and Gary's just said it, that we just don't know how to do that. And you're not sure. And how do you, and it's not necessarily about letting go. I do get that, solo entrepreneur, nobody can do it better than me. I need to do everything. I don't trust anyone. I get that. But I think some of it is not just that. I think some of it is just, how do I do this? I actually want to do it, just how, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe when I feel better, we could have a training on that.
Later
on next year.
Yeah, I thought, Thembi, you mentioned the webinar, how to work effectively with a VA. Is that something that is there a video on that, or should we maybe, can we do a live session on it?
There's a training. Yes, we can do a live session. There's already a recorded training, but I'd rather do a live session for you, for your team. So maybe that's something we can do next year.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Thembi. We'll follow up on that. Greg, you had your hand up.
Thanks, Quentin, and thanks, Thembi, for the talk. I really admire you being here. I'm one of those that goes, I got to go to bed. That's man flu. Man flu is real. Man flu is real.
Greg does that even if he's not coughing, by the way, Thembi. It's just no, kidding.
So Thembi, let me run a scenario by you, and you can tell me, and I'd like to ask you how you can help me, okay? So we're running marketing programs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 suppliers or supplier teams. So there's 5 groups that do various things of design and copy and LinkedIn postings and social media, whatever. And then I have a client in Ireland. Almost none of us have met. One of my suppliers I see all the time, one I know pretty well, and the other 3 I've never met. I never met my client either in person. So it's a completely online business. So the good thing now is that I have the time to actually work out my processes. And because I'm so close to the client, they keep giving me more stuff, which is awesome. But once we get 2 or 3 of these, it's going to be overwhelming. And as the group knows, my goal for 2022 is to work 20-hour work weeks. I'd rather play golf than do admin. You know, that's my priorities at the moment. So we might be doing 5 different projects in about 10 different projects in a given month. Some of them are going back and forth. Everything is done on organized on Google Sheets. I actually created a portal so the clients can see exactly what they have to feedback on, or what we're working on, and so on and so forth, and the planning for next month. So everything's done on Google Sheets. How could you or your people, help me kind of organize this? Because once I get to 3, I'm working 60-hour work weeks, and almost all of it's admin. I actually want to spend my time with strategy, creativity, and thinking. If that makes sense.
May I ask a clarifying question, Greg? What is the admin you do with that? Like if those teams are doing the work, what is the type of admin you do?
Okay. So one of them is sending briefs. So getting a brief from the client, making sure the client is happy with the brief, then sending the brief to the creative teams, and then following up with, then they produce the work and we send the work to the clients. We send reminders to look at the work and approve or give feedback, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of paperwork without the paper, if that makes sense, in terms of managing. It's project management.
Yeah. Why are you not letting Asana do that?
Pardon me?
Why are you not letting Asana do that? Asana, like a project management tool. Why are you not? I'm just curious, like, why are you not managing?
We use Basecamp.
Use Basecamp, yeah.
Yeah.
But why can your client not have access to that directly from them, or do you have to check the work? I'm just asking clarifying question.
I have to check the work.
You have to check.
One of the reasons that we're able to get such low costs is that a lot of the teams are in Pakistan, but they're not. They're paid to do. They're not paid to think. They don't have the experience that we have.
Yes, the critical thinking. Yeah.
So once they understand the brief, then they produce fantastic work.
Okay. Do you have SOP, like standard operating procedures for checking the work? You have like a system to say this is kind of how the baseline is, or the guidelines are like?
No.
Oh, that's in your head.
I know everybody on this call knows that would never happen if I'm in charge. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm just trying to see, like, if my team can even help, if you don't have that, because you obviously have your standards, you have your baseline to say this is what I want, and I'm wondering if maybe the first thing could be you recording standard operating procedures via Zoom, recording your thought process to say this is how I check, this is what I look for, this is what I don't look for, and these are the tick marks I check before it goes to the client. That way, at least once you have those, it's easier for someone to come in and kind of just take over from you and take so that you can go golfing.
Sure.
Because right now I can say to you, oh yeah, we can do that. But in all honesty, I don't know what your standards are going to be like. And that's just a thought.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But I would have to do that even if I hired somebody. So
it's the
same thing, and it will take me about literally like 2 hours to do.
Yeah. So do the initial work of 2 hours, and then it's going to be easier.
You guys might remember KK Diaz. He did a process design for me that's probably still valid. So I'll take a look at that as well. I forgot about that.
All right. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Thanks, Thembi.
Good. Yes, Quinton, I have 2 questions actually. One, the first one is a follow-up from what Gary Gary asked, what digital tools are you employing, Thembi, as the first question. Then the second question, what are your plans in terms of expanding your services, your platform to Africa? Because you've talked to us that your clientele base is North America, Australia, and the UK. Have you tried Africa? Are you finding some challenges and so forth? I just want to get to understand the dynamics and the nuances around Africa, or whether it's in your pipeline to go through there.
Thank you, Chef. The first question about the tools, we use a lot of tools. We basically are software dependent, really. But the main ones I can think of which might apply to some of you is Time Doctor. We use Time Doctor for tracking time. And really, it's not really for us per se to see how many hours people are working, it's for productivity. We realized that when we started using Time Doctor, productivity increased within the company, unlike when we were not using Time Doctor. So we use that. For project management, we use Asana. That's our project management software. That's what we use for everything, really. And the other one we use a lot is called Loom. That's what we use to record our, what did I do? We used to record our standard operating procedures. Like I was talking to Greg about SOPs, like that's what we use Loom for standard operating procedures. I'm trying to think of the ones which really are daily. We do use Google Suite, but not as much. Not as much, really. The main one for us is Asana. Slack for communication. We communicate via Slack throughout with our clients and with everyone, really. Slack is the main thing. We don't use email a lot. So yeah, those are the ones I can think of. We started using Notion recently for some projects. Like if we have some projects and we just kind of want to outline them easily. I don't use it a lot, but some of the VAs use that as well. So.
Cool.
Thank you. And the second question was around
the second question, the Africa. Yeah.
Yes.
We really want to get into the African market. I've been in Zimbabwe since April. I came here in April, and the goal was like, I'm gonna come to Zimbabwe and I'm just gonna crack the market, and I'm just gonna go in there and I'm gonna be the top marketing gal for Zimbabwe. Well, it didn't turn out that way. It turns out Zimbabwe is definitely a different country. So we have been looking into cracking the African market. The truth is I have no freaking clue what I'm supposed to do. Like I'm like the North American market where it's easy for me. It's easy for me. I just go on a platform, I speak, and boom, that's it. Especially in Zimbabwe. I can't talk of South Africa because I haven't looked into that. The only way I've thought is maybe I just need to start doing Facebook ads to attract the clients. But to be honest, I have no idea. Like it just feels like it's a different market. And I'm talking about Zimbabwe. I can't talk about South Africa, but it just feels like it's different. Like you talk to people, they're like, well, why do I need digital marketing when my business is thriving? It's like, okay. So it feels like it's a different place altogether, Zimbabwe. So I honestly haven't been able to penetrate the market. I don't know what I have to do to penetrate the market. I was thinking we'll start next year looking into Facebook ads for the South African market and other markets in Africa. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I don't know what to do.
That's where I come in. Thembi, you must know also that Zim is my second home. I lived in Zim for 5 years. Yeah.
Nice.
So I know the nuances. So yes, no, don't worry. And Jeff is president of Africa. People just don't quite realize that. So cracking it, no problem. Piece of cake.
Thank you.
Thembi, I'll catch up with you and I'll provide a platform in Kenya. If we can have a presentation, I'll provide a platform in Kenya. There's like 120 people. So we can have a webinar for you and help you do something in Kenya. Yeah. So get well soon, and early next year we can do something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Tony,
Yeah,
you
Jeff,
wanna say
both
something?
Jeff and Bheka are very well connected in Zim, but Jeff, you've got a lot up in Rwanda as well. We had the Rwandan Trade Embassy sit on this group and talk to us. So both Jeff and Bheka are great contacts for you, and very much a heart. Jeff, Jeff didn't tell you is he also runs a leadership program for youth all the way up. How many countries now, Jeff, are you in?
76 now.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
lots of things happening
we
up there.
we got Barcelona, Spain 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so super excited.
Nice.
That's
Cool.
very good.
You're running out of African countries there, Jeff.
Run out.
The world is
76 as
now
well.
a global village. Yeah.
Thembi, I wanted to ask you again a little bit like what we were just asking about, what about selling into Africa? Let's flip that the other way around. What I found very interesting, because, I've spent a lot of time on Upwork or Guru or, Elance, freelance.com, all those sites, you just don't get African people on there. I mean, almost not. I mean, including South African, it's almost none. And I'm often wondering, is that because Africans don't put themselves on the group, or do we not just feature? How hard are you finding it marketing African VAs in, let's say, an American market or a UK market or something like that? Do they? I mean, people have got used to India, they got used to Philippines, they got used to even the Eastern Bloc, Belarus and all these countries. But what about Africa? It's a Africa hasn't exactly got a great reputation globally as being as you say, a workhorse or somewhere where there's a lot of intellectual capacity. How are you battling with that, and how are you overcoming that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, Tony, because when I started, I actually didn't have any intention to start this agency. I had my thriving real estate business and I wasn't going to leave it. So I trained these women. My goal was, I'm just going to train them. That's going to be my give back to the community, and they're going to go find jobs online. So I gave them all these resources, Upwork and all this stuff, and nobody got hired. And that kind of ended up being, that's how the agency started, because I was like, I don't understand, why are people not getting hired? These girls are good, they're smart, they're intelligent. Why are they not being hired? And what I found is, first of all, with Zimbabwe and most African countries, you can't open an account actually on Upwork. It won't even allow you if you're in Zimbabwe. Wow. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it won't. Yeah, because you have to connect it with, I think there's also the PayPal factor. There's no PayPal in Zimbabwe. There's no PayPal in many African countries. So you can't do it. That's one thing I found out when I started. But the numbers, I don't know why I'm switching my video off. Sorry. Yeah, I can't talk about other countries. In South Africa, I think it's different, but in Zimbabwe, you can't. You couldn't open an account with Upwork. And then the other thing I found challenging was, I guess I can say this because I'm Zimbabwean. It will sound very politically incorrect. I was actually shocked by especially in Zimbabwe, I was shocked by the English, because I thought all along, Zimbabweans were very educated. Zimbabweans were smart, Zimbabweans were intelligent. And after training these women, and I remember I asked them to write like cover letters so I could send them to my friends to hire them. I was shocked with the type of languaging they were using and the English they were using, even though some of them have MBAs. I had somebody who was an oncologist in my training. Wow. And I remember reading her application letter and thinking, there's no way I can send this to my friend. So the standard of English shocked me a little bit. So, and it's not everyone, please don't get me wrong. This is just a bigger percentage I noticed. And I'm saying this because I can say this because I'm Zimbabwean, but and so if that's the standard I was seeing within the girls I had trained, I'm thinking that's the standard they try to send and put on Upwork. So we ended up using Grammarly. In my company, we use Grammarly. Grammarly is basically something that everybody has to use Grammarly. It's something that corrects your grammar and your spelling and everything, because it was bad. It was bad. So I'm thinking that's probably the same standard they were putting out there. And that's why we're not seeing a high intake of, as I said, I'm speaking of Zimbabweans. I can't speak of South Africans. I can't speak of anybody else. The only people I've had interactions with are Zimbabweans when it came to this. That is the other thing. Then I also think lack of knowledge. I think there is lack of awareness that people don't believe that they can get jobs online. I think that's also something that if we can have more people being aware that they could get jobs online, that they could provide jobs online and make money online, I think that could change the dynamics. It's very popular in the Philippines. It's been seen in the Philippines. I don't think it's been seen enough in Africa, where people have done jobs and can do that online. So those are the three things that I feel contribute. I don't know if I answered all your questions, Tony.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. I think it's one of these things that we this group does a lot of or is connected with quite a few people who are wanting to uplift Africa and do lots of good things all the way up through Africa. And I think it's one of those things which are constantly an issue for all of us as to how do we market Africa. We talk about the Africa uprising and we talk about the new renaissance. We talk about all the potential, but Africa consistently lacks to fulfill its potential on a global scale compared to what it could be doing, right? And it's often something I grapple with, and I go, but why is that? I mean, I'm in the tech side. Robert's on the tech side. And I was chatting with, we've got another group member, Oswald Jamira, who's Zimbabwean, who's based up in, well, he lives in South Africa mostly, but a mixture of Kenya, South Africa, all over the place actually. And he heads up tech for EcoNet Group. He's a African technology director, if you like, for EcoNet. And he's working with very good tech teams in both Zimbabwe and Kenya, Cassava Technologies and VAR Technologies, as well as a whole bunch of independent guys he's working with. And he says the standard is really excellent, but he battles to find them. And I just think, Africa, somewhere along the line, we have to try and crack this marketing to the rest of the world as to how we're doing things. Jeff, cheerio. Thanks. Great having you on as always. We have to somehow beat that, and I do think that probably for me there's two things which does, and I'll agree with you. Sometimes our English is not good, which is surprising. We do software all the way up through Africa, and we found the two countries where we specifically have had enormous success is Zimbabwe and Kenya, because the willingness to work and the education has been a lot higher, even actually than a lot of the times in South Africa, to be honest with you. So I find it surprising, but I think we don't necessarily put our best face towards the world. And then I think the other thing is often the work ethic, and a very interesting comment you made in Africa. If the boss is not there, I don't have to work. And that's an issue, because we're competing with countries around the world like Philippines and India and stuff, even China. I know the language is different there, but who've got an immense work ethic. And we know, so there's a lot of barriers I think we might need to break down.
Excellent.
Sorry, I've got two hands up. There's Greg and there's Vic.
I think Greg was first.
I just have a very quick comment on the payment issue. I know one startup in New York, and this guy's previous startup was sold to MasterCard, and that product became part of the MasterCard remittance product. His startup is basically, I'm a freelancer in South Africa or Zimbabwe, I have a client in California, I'm going to build a website, I'll charge him $1,000. I go on the app, I invoice $1,000, and the money comes in instantly, free, and in dollars, in Zim dollars, if there's such a thing anymore, sorry, in rands, whatever, any currency, where I can park some of it in crypto. So and they're actually targeting India and the Philippines, in Brazil specifically, because that's like almost all the freelancers in the world are in those places. So that payment thing, that payment issue and the PayPal issue, and this guy isn't the only guy doing it. There's a whole bunch of startups that are doing pretty much the same thing. So hopefully in 2022, that problem will be sorted. because getting paid is obviously the key, right? To freelancing, getting paid free instantly, without massive fees or without massive exchange rates, and being able to keep it in different currencies is actually quite a nice thing. So I just had a quick comment on the payment issue with PayPal and Upwork. Over to you, Vic.
Sorry, yeah, I need to jump off as well. So your third point, Thembi, was very important. I have the privilege of having a couple of, Alison, who was on, is one of our hosts on one of our courses. So is Quinton, and he actually ran a course this week, wasn't it, Quinton?
Yeah.
With a whole bunch of young people who were astounded at some of the, and I'm always astounded that they're astounded, because we assume the youth should know and young people should know about all these digital tools and, you know, capabilities and all that. And they're like, oh, wow. And we're like, well, what are you saying oh, wow for? So the point about not being aware is massive. Tony, we underestimate, we just assume they assimilate this information. That's one way of learning it and getting it, but you really need to be taught this stuff. You need to be taught about the opportunities that digital presents to you to be able to become your own business person, or to go onto other platforms where you can, you know, where you can profile yourself as somebody capable to deliver certain services. And I'm astounded at how they just don't know. They're not even aware that that's there. They still believe in a CV and handing it in and hopefully getting a job.
So, I think
thank
there's
you,
a lot of training. Thank you, Vicky. I think there's a lot of training needed in the application process itself. Before you even look at getting the job, like the whole application process, I think there's a lot of training needed there.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, we've gone over time. Thembi, I was hoping to give you like a few minutes off, but the group was very engaging, and they obviously enjoyed what you had to say, enjoyed the conversation. So we took up the full hour. So, but thank you very much for sticking with us. And that's it, Tony. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say before we close off.
No, just Thembi, thank you. We appreciate you not feeling well in COVID and fevers and all that sort of stuff, and we really thank you for honoring us so much by coming and joining us. Even as you are, it would have been so easy to say, guys, can we do this next year? Hopefully next year we can connect with you again, and hopefully us as a group, you've added great value to us. Hopefully we'll be able to add some value back to you again over the months and the years ahead of us, and I'm sure this isn't the last time we've seen you. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you. Blessings to you and your family over Christmas, and your son, see him popping in and out there. So that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone, and thanks for having me, Quinton. Thank you for coordinating this. It was lovely meeting you all. Hopefully I can come back when I'm feeling okay and train. I would definitely love to train you how to work with your VA, and maybe kind of just give you some tips and things to help you as you move forward. But it was lovely. I look forward to more connections with you.
Wonderful. Guys,
Great.
Thank you. Next week, it's a breakfast.
Thank you, Thembi. I'd like to engage next. Sorry, Tony, I'd also like to engage with you early in the new year. So I'll be in touch. Sorry, my bandwidth is low, so pictures off.
Good.
Thank you. Awesome. Absolutely.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.